अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी, मेरा नाम निम्रा है। आई एम फ्रॉम CXO Forum. CXO Forum is an emerging knowledge sharing platform एंड इस शो में टेक टीवी के इस शो में हम आपको ऐसे ही बहुत सारे इंस्पायरिंग लोगों से मिलवाते हैं और उनसे उन्हीं की ज़बानी हम स्टोरीज सुनते हैं कि वो आज इस मकाम तक किस तरह पहुँचे हैं। तो आज हमारे पास जो ऑनरेबल गेस्ट हैं ही इज़ सैयद जाकिर अली रिजवी। तो आइए उनसे सुनते हैं कि वो आज इस मकाम तक किस तरह से पहुँचे हैं। अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर। हेलो। अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
Aslam alaikum. That's good, I think.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर, आप मुझे सुन सकते
Walaikum
हैं?
assalam. Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
ओके सर, सबसे पहले तो थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस।
Pleasure. Pleasure. My pleasure.
अच्छा सर, आप अब अपने बारे में कुछ बताएं, अपना एकेडमिक करियर बताएं और किस तरह से आज आप यहाँ पहुँचे हैं। थोड़ी सी हमें अपनी ब्रीफ हिस्ट्री बता दें।
Okay. So yes, Zakir Rizwe. I'm the profession. I'm a computer engineer. Graduated in the year 2000 from Sayed University of Engineering and Technology. Completed my master's from the same university uh, in the year 2003. Started as a research assistant in Sayed University's first Cisco proprietary academic lab. Served the academia for about a year, and then I moved to Central Depository Company. I stayed there for somewhere around 6.5 to 7 years in operations, core operations, system and network operations, where I was responsible to manage the PKI infrastructure, the metropolitan network that we had within Karachi, and which spans across the WAN networks to Lahore and Islamabad. Uh, uh, then I moved to the senior architect position in the same company, and then for a year's time, I went to the enterprise security services. There, I actually worked with the CISO at that time, and we had some projects for SCCP at that time that were more towards non-repudiation. Finally, in 2007, I left CDC and I joined KESC, which is now K Electric. I was engaged to actually establish the internal audit, IT audit function. We've been working, alhamdulillah, for the last 13 years in this company. I have 4 portfolios right now. I'm managing the information systems and IT systems audits, the power generation audits, operational technology audits, and the industry control systems. So that's a brief record. I think that should do enough for the audience.
Yeah. थैंक यू सो मच। अच्छा सर, अब मैं आपसे कुछ पाकिस्तान के बारे में, क्योंकि आपका इतना एक्सपीरियंस है, तो पूछना चाहूँगी कि आप पाकिस्तान उन कंट्रीज में है अब जिसके अंदर यूथ सबसे ज़्यादा है। इट्स वन ऑफ दोज कंट्रीज। तो व्हाट डू यू सी यूथ ऑफ पाकिस्तान? हाउ डू यू सी यूथ ऑफ पाकिस्तान? आप पाकिस्तान की यूथ को किस तरह से देखते हैं और उनको क्या, आपके पास क्या है उनके साथ शेयर करने के लिए?
Yes, Pakistan is a young country. There's no doubt about it. I think I can do some justice with this question. I think probably a year back, I just got my MBA from Institute of Business Management, and for
Mhm.
since 2016 till no, somewhere from 2017, I enrolled over there, and I had a chance to actually uh, educate again with inspiring new youth. And I spent
Mhm.
probably 2.5 years with them. I saw them very exuberant. I think we have a lot of potential. I think grooming and direction is something that is somewhat missing. I think our youth is more focused with fast-paced changes. They want quick results. There are people who are actually putting in a lot of effort and putting in a lot of time, but I think youth at large is both exuberant. I think it is energetic. Uh, on the negative side, I think we have been looking for shortcuts. So I think we believe in quick fixes. We believe in catching up on many things that we want to do overnight. And for the strange reasons that I think it is happening for them as well. As far as Pakistan being a young country is concerned, I think Pakistan would remain a young country not for the next 30 years. I think probably for more than 30 years. I think the fertility rate that we have right now is very encouraging. So I don't think that we'll be an old country for the next 50 years. I believe we will be a young country, and I think the main potential of the youth that we have is really turning up heads. We are doing exceptionally well, I believe. When I saw the marketing guys, what they have achieved in digital marketing and social networks, and the way young entrepreneurs are actually moving up new things to the market, I think it's very encouraging. But on the same end, I believe that we are a bit, I wouldn't say that we are lacking behind, but I would say I think that we need to focus more on the way technology really works rather than them being a user of it, but we need to be on the architect side. I think we are losing on that front. So, all in all, if I have to scale up the youth from a scale from 1 to 10, I would probably place them somewhere between 6 to 7. From an energy point of view, I think they're somewhere between 8 and 9. But I think the promised potential goes, I think we are pretty good at 6 to 7. I think it will only increase from here.
अच्छा, सर, यूथ को या पाकिस्तान के लोगों को आप क्या समझते हैं कि उनको फाइनेंशियली लिटरेट किस तरह से बनाया जा सकता है?
Uh, Financially literate. It's a very interesting question. I think I just remembered one thing. I read a book by an economist some time back, and he actually had he was asked the same question, and um, the myth at that time, and it's still true today, is that we always believe that poverty is the main thing that is keeping us from financial literacy or from enablement. I think if you really have to make the youth financially literate, I think what that economist in his book, or that researcher in his book, what he said, he played a very smart game. If you just like to repeat it over here, he actually collected some harvesters who were actually growing sugarcane. Now, if you know about sugarcane, the harvesters are probably richest people for 2 months a year, and they are simply at the bottom line for the next 8 months. So from 2 to 4 months, they have very much in their pocket. They have much to spend, but for the next 8 months, they don't have much to spend. So what he saw and what he intercepted in those harvesters was that before the harvest came in, that is before they had some disposable income with them, they were given different tasks, and they failed miserably on those tasks. They were making all the wrong decisions. They were not uh, hitting anything right. But as soon as they got some money in their pocket, they uh, they would they would they did a fantastic job. So what he concluded from that particular exercise was that it's not about uh, poverty that actually decides financial literacy. I think it's what it decides is a basic income. I think for our youth, I think financial literacy from a government point of view, I think PTI or any government right now, they are more focused towards actually giving people some relief, some cover for the taxes that they pay. So I think basic income is for me is the first thing that can make them financial literate. I think they will be making good decisions in the academic in any science in any field they go. From an entrepreneurial point of view, how can they become financially literate? I think they have to believe in themselves. It's high time. We have been selling Chinese goods for the last, I think, 10 years, I believe, and I think the trend will grow further. But I think it's not going to give us any financial literacy because we will be a seller's market for someone else. So we won't be having our own strengths on the roads. So, but going back to what you asked, I think if we have to have some financial literacy with us, and first some enablement, some fulfillment, we need to be cognizant of our own strengths. We should stop seeking people to actually give something to us, governments to give some tax reliefs, and excise to give us some reliefs or the way we actually move around the society. I think we need to stop focusing on that area. I would like to quote a very interesting study that I believe I read some time back, and it had a collection of 100 top CEOs of Pakistan. 100 or I believe 50 top CEOs of Pakistan. Now, all of these CEOs, I won't want to name them, but I think they are all big shots. They are all big shots. They are the people who actually make or break our economy. And when they were interviewed, what exactly they can do to uplift the way things are in Pakistan. And that study
Sir,
is
I can't hear you.
okay. Um, is it good right now? Is it better? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Nimra? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Uh,
आई थिंक जाकिर साहब के इंटरनेट के साथ कोई इशू हुआ है. हम ट्राई करते हैं उनको
uh,
दोबारा लाइन पे लाने.
sure.
जी.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Nimra?
Yes, I can. I can.
I can. That's good. So we were discussing about financial
Yeah.
fulfillment or how we can actually enable our youth. And I was discussing a report of top 50 or 100 CEOs of Pakistan, and then they were asked what exactly is the formula of Pakistan gaining in on this competitive advantage. All of them had one thing in common. All of them, unfortunately, were expecting something to be given by the government. And this is the most damaging thing to hear from the topmost CEOs of Pakistan. I think it's high time that we should be more dependent on our skills, our ideas, our new way of doing things, rather than expecting governments to lay out taxes for us, release excise duties for us, give us more leverage, give us more thoughts in policy making. Yes, it has its own space, but I think if you are only focusing on this particular element, you're not going anywhere. So if the top brass is not thinking like this, what exactly they can give in return to the youth. I think they will be giving them less. I think the youth would also be nurturing in the same way. They will also be expecting things to be done for them so that they can actually flourish in this environment. And I think this thing is really killing us. I think Chinese or any global industry you go over there, I think competition is the main thing that actually reaps the best out of people. And till the time our people don't actually play to that particular competition, they're not going anywhere. But I'm still very hopeful. I'm being a highly optimistic guy. So I think that we can do a lot. I think we have a lot of potential. We have smart kids going around. I think they always keep people like us on the toes. And I think we can do wonders, but all we have to do is to actually believe in ourselves, so that we should be focusing our energy on what we can do rather than what others can do for us.
सर हमारा जो एजुकेशनल सिस्टम है वो भी तो अभी तक चेंज नहीं हुआ, वही ट्रेडिशनल मेथड से पढ़ाया जा रहा है। तो आप क्या सेटिस्फाइड हैं करंट एजुकेशनल सिस्टम से, या अगर कोई आप चेंजेस चाहते हैं तो आप क्या सजेस्ट करेंगे? क्योंकि इस सब के लिए हमारा जो एजुकेशनल सिस्टम है वो काफी मैटर करता है।
Short answer, I'm not at all satisfied with the education system. I think globally, educational system is on a rewind right now. I think what uh, the amount of information that we are generating. For instance, we've been talking for the last 15, 20 minutes, and I think if you just Google right now how much new information has been generated in the last 15 minutes, it will probably give you somewhere around a terabyte of information that's been generated in the last 15 minutes. So I think there's abundance in information. Now, it really doesn't sound well that we would be continuing spending uh, that much time, money, resources, and clubbing our offsprings, our children's into academias, into a fixed state academia that's not going to give them anything in return. I recently wrote an article at LinkedIn, I'm pretty I'm absolutely against the education system right now. I think it is a sort of labor. Just imagine you put your kid from 3 years onwards till he or she gets up to 23 years into a system where he or she is there competing with fellow students in every subject that someone else decides. It doesn't matter what your potential is, it doesn't matter what your interest is. You have to go with the academics, with the academia, with the way, with the literature that we assign for in that particular program, and you have to study that. The teacher is always going to be focused on probably 20 people, 30 people at max, 60 people who he doesn't know what their interest is, what their potential is, how exactly they can shine. But he or she is forced to teach them the same textbook, the same academic book, the same reference book to all the students, irrespective of what the potential of the students is. So I think it's more like an outcome of industry revolution. I think we are still caught with this particular thing. We go into a school, uh, the bill ra- the bell rings in. You have to go into a class. You have to sit over there. Someone else would come in. He will teach you some course. After 45 minutes, he will leave. Someone else would come in, and this is it's a very motorized sort of a process where actually doesn't consider anything about the children. It's more about what we are supposed to teach them rather than identifying what exactly they have with them. And I think the amount of investment that uh, the, the parents are doing, I wrote in that article and I really pictured it out in Pakistan. In average household, for starting from Montessori till the child graduates. That's a 4 year degree program, and the age scale is somewhere around 16 years or 18 years to be at the max side. Spends around in those 18 years somewhere around 15 billion rupees. He gives this fees, this money on amount of fees, uniform, tuition fees, books, stationaries, logistics. You combine all of them and just ration it out. It every parent is investing 15 billion rupees in Pakistan in the space of 18 years into these institutions. For what return? They're not giving us any return. So you are a graduate. Can any of your schools or university that you graduated from actually guarantee that you're going to get this return after you graduate from here? No, they can't. They can't guarantee you anything. But they are taking that fees from you, and you are paying
Yes.
them. Now tell me one business which actually works like this. Tell me one investment where you actually invest your money and you didn't have any guarantee for any return. And it's a long term investment. You're investing for 18 years and you're investing
Yeah.
in a different cartel. You are investing in schools, they're investing in colleges, they're investing in universities, and you just can't get away from them. Now,
That's
I think we as a nation have a lot to learn from this. I don't think anything overnight would happen, but something right is happening. If you see, Google actually started taking people not on their graduation but on their potential. So they are picking kids probably at their most productive age, probably younger than you. They will be somewhere around 12 to 15 years of age, and they think that the brightest of the kids, the brightest of potential is at that particular age. They're more focused on what they can get out of that potential rather than waiting for them to graduate and then probably 24 years of age come into Google and do something for them. They say that it's not the right time. And I think they're absolutely right. Unfortunately, they're absolutely right. So, and if you look at the other side, I think from an academics point of view too, I think our textbooks are completely outdated. They are completely outdated.
exactly.
And whatever we learn, for instance, when I was doing my MBA, I was simply in. All of my classmates were probably somewhere around 12 to 15 years younger than me. At times, even the teacher was younger than me. And they were teaching me Maslow's hierarchy, and they were teaching us many, the Boston Consulting Group, fat cows, and all this stuff. And I completely asked them, but where exactly do you expect to see these things in the real life? No, they can't.
Exactly.
And if you go to any university right now in Pakistan, if you go in an engineering university or in a business school, I think business school thrives only on the marketing side because
Hmm.
that's the only thing, there's only discipline which is actually very vibrant outside. And you can't
Hmm.
just can't get away from that thing. So I think it's not about the institution thriving on that thing. I think it's more about how the environment is being shifted towards that particular. But other than that, if you pick up any discipline, may it be HR, may it be finance, because uh, things are very different in the real life. These institutions never tell you how to behave in a proper organization, how to set up your own organization. They never tell you how and what sort of taxes you are about to pay, what exactly you're currently paying, why you are paying. You never know anything about the institutions that are there to safeguard your own rights. You don't have any idea about your civic rights, what are the government's obligations. You don't have any rights about the education system. You don't have any rights about, you don't know anything when you get out of those institutions. They are not telling you if they can't make you a better qualified academics student, at least they can make you a better human being for the society to accept. I think they are miserably failing in that particular aspect as well. So I think education system has a lot to revamp. I think it has a lot to revamp. It's absolutely unfair for people like us to continue paying them that much big amount of money with absolutely no rate. For instance, if you have probably a million rupees in your pocket, and that's if a million rupees had 100,000 into 10, you go into any school of Pakistan and you can on a very average side, on every average side, which actually where a monthly expenditure of a student, including logistics, books,
Hmm.
uniforms, tuition fee, any other fee that they're going to charge, this million rupee would be exhumed in 2 years' time per child.
Hmm.
So if you have three children, so you're going to be spending somewhere around 6 million rupees in 2 years' time. So if I give you this opportunity to invest the 6 million right now with any interest rate into any business and then get some return out of those 2 million after those 2 years, probably that will take you from 6 million to somewhere around 6.5 million. I think that will be fantastic for you. Why do you have
Hmm.
to really educate yourself when you can learn from that particular angle? So I think we as a nation need to decide education is not a necessity to live a good life. It should be
Hmm.
an option to live a better life. You should not be having education just for the sake of the bread on your table. It should be for something which you want to fulfill in your life, rather than it's being right now it's a necessity. You're not a graduate, you're no more actually. So this is killing us actually. This is killing the potential. Now people are more worried about being an MBA and then starting as an MTO. Just believe just what the shit it is. You are a master's in business administration and you're struggling even to find this position as a management training officer. So either that academic degree of masters is wrong, or that university, that office is not picking you right. So the respect is not there, the relationship is not there. So why we are paying so much on these particular things? So in short, I think we have a lot to revamp over there. I think there's no question about
सर सर, आप यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं, तो ये जो पाथ हो था, ये जर्नी ऑब्वियसली ये आसान तो नहीं होगी। आपको हर्डल्स भी फेस करनी पड़ती हैं सब। तो आप किस तरह से डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशंस को मैनेज करते हैं? डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशंस तो सबको फेस करना ही पड़ती हैं। ऑब्वियसली कोई भी जो पाथ है या कोई जर्नी है वो इतनी स्मूथ तो नहीं होती किसी भी जगह पहुंचने के लिए। तो आप किस तरह से मैनेज करते हैं डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशंस को?
I think difficult situation. I would like to categorize that difficult situation into three particular areas. One difficult situation is the health area. I think that's the worst. That's the most difficult situation for anyone to handle. If you have any
हम्म।
health issues, Alhamdulillah,
हम्म।
and I pray that none of us would go through any of it. The other one is more about financial difficulty, where exactly you don't have money to live, and how are you going to cope with that particular. And the third one is when you are surrounded by people who do not want you to be successful in life. You're surrounded by bad bosses, you're surrounded by a bad environment, you're surrounded by people who are actually backbiting you every now and then. There is high nepotism over there. The company is extremely autocratic. There is no room for democracy. There's no room for saying your mind. I think this is the third most difficult. And I think that if you lay out for professionals working in Pakistan, I would say that the third category that I just defined has the maximum share right now. And if you can just talk about that particular third category, I think the first thing you were absolutely right. I think yes, everyone has to face some difficulty in order to get something out of something better out of it. I was once reading an article, and the author in that article, or probably he was rating some subject, and he said that when did you achieve something good in life? So people said that we had achieved this thing, this was fantastic to achieve. And then he asked every one of them, what exactly was it before achieving that? Everyone said one thing: we were stressed out, we were feeling cold, we were put to the wall, we have to really stretch it out, we have to make all guns blazing were there, and then finally we got that. I think this is the truth of the matter. I think difficult times are there to make you a better person. And I think with every difficulty, I don't think it's an adversity. I think it's an opportunity for you to learn. And the moment you actually believe in one thing, that you can always unlearn and learn new things, you are the best profession that is out there. I think difficulties is not something that can hinder you, that can stop you from progressing. I think it will grow you further. It will grow you further. I would, and believe me, I would like to tell you something about myself. When I was when I completed my 10th standard, I was all set to go into medical profession. I was very much inclined. I always thought that I have this magical touch and I can heal people, and I was always good at my hands, and everyone said around me that I was good in medicine. So naturally, I applied in three colleges, selecting the pre-medical portion. Unfortunately, the three colleges didn't name me in their lists, and I was just standing right there, and I was just looking because I was scared that probably if I lose an year right now, because if I won't be getting admission into a college, I won't be getting through. So my I was pretty scared, and in that particular time, my father actually talked to a professor of another college, and he said that why don't you apply in our college? That was a relatively lesser college in terms of academic position, and he said that once you have the admission, your scores are pretty good. You can always get the admission over here, and then you can later pass yourself on to those colleges. So my father said, fine, but you'll be happy to do that. And the next morning, when we got to in that particular in that gentleman's office in his college, my father, for some reason, asked me to select pre-engineering, and I was like shocked. I said, no, but I want to have pre-medical. And he said, fine, but you can always transfer it later. You have to transfer it one day, so you can have it
Hmm.
over there. And this is how I got pre-engineering. So any of you out there, if you think that you were made for something and just because you were not given that thing, that is the reason of your failure, I think you're absolutely wrong. You are much more than that particular need. You have much more to uncover. You have much more potential. And the story goes on. I completed my pre-engineering. I never got back to pre-medical. Then I got to the university, and then when I was in my third year, I was so impressed by one of my mentors that I decided that particular month that I'm going to be a teacher. And I'm going to teach people like anything, and I'm going to be the best teacher around. But then after semester, I thought, no, teaching is not good. It's not cool. You just have to go to different classes and then you have to take lecture. It's not cool. So
Exactly.
just go to the corporate area. And then for the next 6 months, I was booming about myself that I have to go to the corporate area. Then I got to the corporate area and I just assembled my CV and I put it across many places. None of them had given me any call. For the next 3 months, I was waiting for a simple call. And and at that particular time, I said, fine, I'm not a teacher. I'm not getting
Hmm.
into any company right now. Let's start again. And I got back to the academia and I got back to the bench. And then I started from there.
Okay.
And from a year's time, then I moved to the corporate world. And it was again a very interesting story. I was not interested in going to CDC. I was not interested. My friend actually forced me that I'm going to Virginia. You should apply at my slot, and you should be there. And I said, no, I don't want to work for any company right now. But he said, just give it a thought, email it out, and someone will get in touch with you. I said, okay, fine. But I just emailed that gentleman. In the next 15 minutes, I got a call. Just imagine, I was the same person who was not getting a call for 3 months from by any company. And then in that particular moment, I got a call in the next 15 minutes. He asked me to come over, and I said, when should I come over? He said, you can come right now. And they said, okay, fine. But where's the office? And they just got the bus route from there. And then I got over there. And that was history. And then I spent the next 7 months, 7 years in that particular company, that most amazing company that I worked with. I think the main thing, difficulty, whether it's any form. I talked to people when I was doing my MBA, and the students they were saying that they want to do something else, and then their father want them to do something else, and they're unable to decide. And I think, fine, just hold on. You're not in this age to select what you want to do. I think the only thing that you can select right now is to work. And
Hmm.
when you have worked enough, things will come to you. And don't ever give this thing into your mind that if you are unable to do something, then you are a failure in your life. And you're always going to blame someone else that it's because just because of you, dad, I picked this profession and I'm not able to do anything good about this. No, it's not the way. Probably 1 out of 100 people may be like this, but not 99. So don't
Hmm.
frame yourself on exceptions, frame yourself on the majority. So I think difficulties make the better out of you. I think they're good. I think with every difficult time, you tend to learn something new in life, something new in your relationships, something new in life itself, I believe. So without difficulty, how I cope with it, I think spirituality is one thing where you have a belief that whatever is happening to you is the best thing that can happen to you. Second thing is I would like to quote Steve Jobs over here. He said he was addressing um, some students in Stanford, and he said one thing that you can never connect life looking forward. You can never connect the dots looking forward, but you can always connect them looking backwards. What it means is that when you are in the moment, just work for that moment. And when that moment actually goes by, you can always fall back. You can always take things and you can always say that, wow, I made this fantastic decision. That thing really worked for me. But that moment would only arrive when you will work in that particular moment. So I think to my advice to all of the people, don't wait for that ideal job that you want, because we always want everything to be utopic around us. We always want everything to be perfect for us to work. I think this is not going to work for you. Just start working whatever you have. You have the potential. I think every youth, every person, every elderly, every human has a lot of potential. I think none of the companies, none of the organizations can have that stretch that they can really utilize even 10% of that potential. So if you just have to utilize 10% of your potential, why not do it?
सर, बहुत कुछ है पूछने के लिए अभी, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे पास टाइम बहुत कम है। लेकिन लास्ट
Okay,
में
okay.
मैं आपसे एक क्वेश्चन ज़रूर पूछना चाहती हूँ, उसके बाद हम वाइंड अप करेंगे। व्हाट आर द
Sure.
बेस्ट 5 थिंग्स दैट यू थिंक वी आर बेटर फ्रॉम अदर कंट्रीज?
Five things that we are better than other countries. Hmm, that's an interesting one. Uh, hmm. I think we, by and large, are a nation mm, that have high morals. I believe. I think we are low in legislature, but I think we are still high at morale. And I think we have certain ethical values that come to us with our religion, with the way we think, the way we are being brought up. I think the first thing is that we are good at ethics. The second thing is that we have a good family system with us. Probably there are many people around us who can advise us, without uh, more like selflessly. So I think the top two things for me is the first thing is the ethical value that we have from the school of thought, from the religion that we actually follow. The second thing is the belief we have, because I think if whatever is happening right now in Pakistan, if you don't have belief in Almighty, probably you will go mad. Probably our suicide rate probably would be 60% more higher than most of the Western countries right now. But just because the belief we have that everything would turn up good for us, I think that keeps us as a nation going forward. The third thing I think we have is family. I think if you're not peace at your heart, I think you can never be a good man at any place you be at. If you're an academic teacher, if you're a business professional, if you're running a business, you can never be good. I think family is the third thing which we are better from all of the societies that are around us. The fourth is we have certain norms with us. I think we are a better country because we have norms with us, because we know our limits. Yes, there are certain issues, there are certain incidences, there are certain things that happens in every society, but they do not these topics or these incidents do not decide the behavior of the society. I think from a behavioral perspective, we are still better than most of the societies. And last and the least, I think we are a believe me, I've seen places, I've gone to places. I think we are the most democratically blessed country. I think people have the right, the right to choose, the right to do. You just go outside and see for yourself. If you say that we do not practice what we preach, go to Walt Disney. I was studying a research paper, probably is written in the year 2019, I think. So it was not that long, and the researchers said that the people who greet you at Disney, And just for the sake of discussion, what is Disney all about? It's about dreams. It's about hope. It's about magic. It's about support. It's about taking care of people. This is the whole theme of Disney. And he said in his research that when you go to Disney, the people who greet you with all those fantastic ideas are struggling even to find meal on their table 2 times a day. So, what else would you think of hypocrisy? I think we are the best country right now in the whole world when it comes to philanthropic activities, when it comes to democracy, when it comes to family, when it comes to norms, when it comes to religion, when it comes to belief. I think we are the most versatile country, and I think that we are the most intelligent people as well. Do you know that one of the index said that any population, any nation in this world where people can speak more than one language are at a percentile 30% more intelligent than the average human being who speaks only one language. Look at yourself. You are at least reading 4 languages. You read the Quran, you speak Urdu, you speak and read English. And then if you are from a Sindhi family or from a Balochi family or from a Himko family, you probably had
Hmm.
some language from there as well, or from a Maiman side or from a Gujarati side. I think we are वेरी प्लस आई थिंक वो इकबाल का शेर है ना कि जरा नम हो तो ये मिट्टी बड़ी जरखेज है वो नम होने का मतलब ही यही है कि इफ यू जस्ट कैन आइडेंटिफाई योर पोटेंशियल I think we are better off than most of the countries right now. It's not about five. I think there will be 50 more things that we can count on. But probably you have this time, so we have to wrap it up over here.
Sir, it was really nice talking to you, and thank you so
Same
much for
here.
taking out time from your busy schedule.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
The
you.
pleasure was all mine, Nimra. Thank you. Assalamu
Thank you.
alaikum.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah
Walaikum
Hafiz. Take care. Bye bye.